All right, so today we're gonna do a tour of our backyard, mainly because I need to test out the new GoPro Hero 10, which is what I'm recording this with. Anytime I go and do a video, it's good to know your settings and how the camera is set up and whatnot. So anytime I get a new GoPro, I have to put the windscreens on, and so this is more or less just me testing out the camera before I go do a video with it. What better way than to show you guys our backyard? So we're gonna start off by doing some of the first trails that we started building. So this trail right here was the very first trail we built. Just a quick little trail. That turns really tricky. But now that we've ridden it a bunch, the lines really started to like bed in. It's gotten pretty fun. Yeah, so I wanted to use this as an excuse to test out the new GoPro Hero. And there's a few different settings I just want to try out, mainly with the color. There's a natural color, which is what you guys are seeing right now. And then there's the vivid color, which is a more kind of saturated, contrasty color scheme. And I don't know which one I want to use yet, so we're gonna use it today and see what works. That was a quick lap of the Hemlock Loop. It's a fun little thing to go session. And then we usually do a few laps of that. As you guys recognize, we're at the top of Pine Hill, which is one of the high points of our yard. The highest point of our yard is over there, and on the other side of the wall. That's not our property, that's our neighbor's property. Our property is L-shaped, and so we have to go down the hill to go up to the other high point. Anyway, we're gonna do flyby, which is one of the, oh, nice shifting. So you can hit either side, but if I'm doing flyby, I like to go around a whale tail, kind of gap into this. Whew. And then right here, we can do another loop. This will bring us right back to the Hemlock Loop. Or we could have gone straight, which goes through the rock wall and off to the far side of our property. But we'll do that next. So we'll climb back up to the top, and next time we'll do the first trail that first big trail that we built out here, which is Toad's Road, which has the flyover, the big double. The big double, that sounds like a McDonald's burger. One of the videos that a lot of people didn't see was one where we built this. Have a little tool storage area. Screwdriver, chain lube, multi-tools. Has a lock, but since the wood has like swelled a little bit, it's like in there nice and firm, so we don't actually need that. Then tire pump. So it's come in handy a few times when we're not carrying a multi-tool and we need to adjust something in a pinch. I'm gonna stop the camera real quickly and make sure have the angle set. All right, it looked like my camera angle was all right, and so we're gonna continue on. This time we're gonna do Toad's Road, which is one of the more extreme trails we have out here. The worst thing about making a video is sometimes when you come back home and you review the footage and it's all messed up. A little nose bonk over that, big double. Well, a little too big on that rock cinder. All right, so now we're headed over to the far side. That's the washout. So now we're on the far part of our property. I mentioned before our property is kind of a big L shape, and so it's long and skinny going this direction. And this path right here was an ATV trail path that's kind of shared between some of the neighbors that runs along the back of our property. So you'll notice some, grates on the bottom here through like a muddy section, or it gets muddy in the spring. That was put there before we bought the property, and we let our neighbors come out, rock their dog out here and whatnot, but I prefer people not to take their ATVs and whatnot back here. So that hasn't been much of an issue. So, but anyway, yeah, this is about a 3-minute climb to get to the top. And this will bring us to the start of 2 trails. The trail which I showed off at the beginning of this year, which is upper and lower washout. It's one trail, but it's divided by a rock wall, so we gave it some designations. And then we also have a new trail that I have not shown in any video, and I didn't record it when I was building it, because sometimes I just like to build. It's more fun to do things without recording it, because you think less and you enjoy the process a lot more. So I don't document every aspect of my life. But yeah, every once in a while we'll actually take the e-bike out here, and that's how we broke a lot of these trails in, with the e-bike. Because once like the loam is soft, there's not that much of a pitch here, so to kind of form some ruts and whatnot, it's actually a really handy tool. I've yet to take the e-bike to like an actual set of mountain bike trails, but it's fun. I don't know if it's going to replace my regular bike anytime soon. They're pretty heavy and they're a lot of fun, but I still really enjoy just, I guess you can call them acoustic bikes. I don't know. They're just a little bit more playful. All right. So the last little climby bit of the trail. Now this area right here is actually the farthest and highest point of our property. And you can just barely make out the stake in the ground right there. And that's our property boundary. So we'll go do a lap of washout, which is this trail. And we built it earlier this year, and it turned out to be one of our favorite trails just to come out and ride.
I like lap it.
Yeah.
5 times.
But these trails are just a little bit more like a regular mountain bike trails. Stuff over on Pine Hill is a little bit more techy. You have to be on your game. So if like you're just like looking to cruise and go out for a ride, this is what we do. So it just has the right grade. Now you can go either side of this rock. You can boost it to the flat, which makes no sense, but I still like to do it. Then we go through this rock wall. This section right here in the spring is super muddy, but since the snow like finally thawed out and whatnot, hasn't been much of an issue. Then this little rock feature and the sketchiest bridge ever. So yeah, that's washout right there. Don't want to follow that. And then right in front of us is Toad's Road. So now we're gonna go back up the hill. This is what we just climbed up. So you can do a bunch of laps in different loops out here, and it's all like really, really fun. Like the way we built these trails is like there's a bunch of different ways you can link them up, which keeps you on your toes. One of our recent things I did was like last weekend, I came out and actually you can see that big stump out there. That tree was down a while before we bought the property, but we finally got around to starting to clean it up. And when I chainsawed through the tree, the whole tree just like uprooted. It was super cool. Or the opposite of uprooting. It kind of rerouted itself. I'll put a clip up on screen. Anyway, let's head back to the top. We'll do a lap of the trail that we haven't named yet. And we still have one more or two more trails to show you that haven't been shown in any of my videos. A lot of people have been asking, hey Phil, have you been building this year? And definitely not as much as last year, but that's mainly come down to weather. When it's nice out, I actually wanted to take the opportunity to ride versus necessarily trail build, because I really like riding too. Anyway, I think this is also a good time to talk about the bike I'm riding, because Out here, I'm riding my GT Sensor, which is the smaller of my bikes. It's a 140 front, 130 back travel bike. I have it built up quite beefy, not quite enduro bike, but I have cush core in the front and back. So this thing has been basically the bike that I ride the most, even though for the most part you've been seeing a lot of the first carbon. But if I'm like just going out for a trail ride, this is the bike I grab. Recently I ended up crashing and bending the bar, so changed a few parts on it, including the handlebars, put on some old deity bars I had laying around. And then I had an issue with the TRP brakes on this bike. Something about the caliper started to leak oil, so I threw on these guide brakes, which were the stock brakes on the bike, and you know what? I like them. I've gone back and forth, or this year I've gone back to SRAM for the first time in like 10 years, and it's been a little bit of a learning process, but I don't mind them. I used to really diss on them because whole bleed process, but now that I'm a little bit more mechanically savvy, it's a lot easier to bleed your brakes. SRAM has a lot more steps to the bleed process versus anything mineral oil. But all right, this is the go on. Haley wants to lead. Haley may lead. Go ahead.
This is unnamed.
Yeah, this trail has not been named yet, so maybe if anyone has a good name for it in the comment sections, I might name it that, but no promises. Another thing I never talked about is this is my second year riding 29ers completely, and a lot of people have been wondering what my opinions on 29ers are, and honestly, I could ride 27.5, 29, it doesn't matter to me. They're all super fun, but I don't feel like 29ers have like held me back in terms of playfulness. So a lot of people have been wondering if I'd go back to 27.5, and I don't know. Maybe for certain things. There's a rock drop. So this trail, it's not completely finished. We just kind of brought it to this rock drop, and it sent us back down to the creek. So we'll go ahead and head to the top and do that, because we do have like some enduro laps that we've been doing out here. Well, by that I mean I've been thinking about having kind of like a backyard fun race between myself and some of my friends back here, completely not serious. And I've been trying to think about all the different ways I would try to link up these trails, because we don't have that much elevation, but to try to get the most amount of mileage out of our trails, make it somewhat fun. It's not that serious, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But yeah, actually, on the topic of enduros, I think it's kind of funny. A lot of people assumed that I would be good at enduro racing, or I used to race enduro, and enduro is kind of a very new mountain biking discipline that only has popped up, you know, within the past 10 years. And when I was still racing downhill professionally, it had just come on, I guess, the scene. I never really, I don't know, enduro never really clicked for me. I respect it. Like, it definitely caters towards a different skill set than downhill, where you are essentially racing 5 to 6 courses somewhat blind. I mean, you do a practice run on each, but every time you go in there, like, you're not completely sure as to what's really coming around a turn. Whereas in downhill, you only race one trail, and so you're either like, you have like 1 or 2 days just to like memorize the crap out of that trail, and then on Sunday or Saturday, whenever the race is, you have one run to give it your best shot. And that's what I really liked. I really liked trying to get good at one trail, finding all the lines and that kind of stuff. Enduro, to me, anytime I've done them, I have done a few, has always felt like you're just doing a bunch of half-assed race runs. You're just making mistakes. And I personally, this is my opinion, I just didn't find it very fun. Now, a lot of people like that challenge, which is totally fine. But the things I hate about enduro tracks a lot of times is they'll have like a really janky, awkward turn right after a downhill into a steep little punchy climb. And to me, like, trails I find fun are the trails where you don't have to pedal at all. Those are the funnest. Yes, if you can't ride a trail chainless, it's not built properly. Now, that's of course a little bit tongue-in-cheek. All right, we're gonna go to the bottom this time, and at full pace. So this trail, I said, we broke in with the e-bike. So I did do a little bit of half-ass benching to get some of these ruts started, but all right, rock drop. All right, the bridge that we built earlier this year, and right there is where we saw the owl. Okay, these trails are actually really fast, so you can get cooking. So now we're back on the main part of our property, and we're calling this trail or road that we're on the Lower Pine Hill Access Trail, Access Road, whatever the hell you want to call it. And this brings us back to the what we're calling, I guess, the campground, which is where we started building some dirt jumps. This whole area, see all those ferns? All those ferns mean it gets really wet in here and mushy. So to be able to build this road, had to do a lot of drainage work and elevating it to make sure the water would drain off it. And I can't tell you how big of a difference it's made. It's been a huge, huge asset and made our lives a whole lot easier. And yeah, so this is a trail that we just started building. And I think we put basically 3 days of work into that trail. And it's running really good. The top part right here is not quite finished. So we will show you what we have currently, but planning to do more work down the line. I didn't record any of it because to me, I wanted to use it as an opportunity to learn how to build with the excavator a little bit better. One of the things I wanted to focus on is trying to make a trail that didn't necessarily look like it was machine built. And I think we did a pretty good job. Well, we're actually start up here, which is something else we haven't shown. The start of our dirt jumps. But as you can see, it's rained a lot since last time we touched these up and haven't had a chance to prettify them. This is a project I started filming and I never felt like the video had a good ending point because I never felt like I finished this project, so I never released a video. And so now I have some dirt jumps that have a video that I never published, and to make the video I'm just like, I don't know, just not really into making that video. Okay, anyway, with that tangent out of the way, we're gonna ride this new little section. Obviously this whole area is completely roughed in, hence why there's a bunch of stumps, especially the sketchy one right here. But come around here, I think I dropped my chain. Nope, didn't. Just in a real easy gear. A lot of cool rock work right here. but it's very slippery, dark in here. It'll be interesting to see how the GoPro handles us. And back to the top. Honestly, that's actually one of the trails I'm most proud of, because we were able to build it really quickly, and we did it in a way that's pretty clean. Like, there's a lot of things that I did on that trail without, I was trying out new techniques on building, and they worked out. So there's one last trail that we'll show you, and it's actually, it was the original end of the trail we just did. And it's a trail that goes under the flyover, so we're calling it flyby, or no, sorry, or Underdog. Ended up finding like a tennis ball out there when I was raking it, and I like to pay tribute to some of the trails I've ridden in some of my local spots. And one of my buddies built a trail called Underdog as a climb, and since it went under the flyover and we found like a dog tennis ball, I just felt like it was a perfect name. But okay, of course we have Biggie Smalls, which is the skinny we built, and I have not had a good track record with this feature this year. It's also really wet. My tire just slid, which is actually what scares me the most about this feature. Okay, I'm just gonna walk this. This is one of those features that everyone who has come out here has said the video did not do it justice. And it's funny because when we made this feature, I was able to ride it my first try, both directions. But then, as I started inviting friends out, my success rate got worse and worse. So, I think we might... Yeah, it's one of those things where it's deceivingly hard. It's really hard, a lot of janky maneuvers, so I think that's a feature that I'd like to revisit. But last feature or trail we're gonna look at is Underdog. And this is also just a raking ride, but I like it. And it'll end on the same trail that we just rode. Natural berm, under flyover, and this is where it rejoins the other trail. All right. Whew. You know, I just realized I never got a chance to try the other color setting for the GoPro. So let's do that right now. This is what it looks like in natural, and this is what the vivid setting looks like on the GoPro Hero 10. Honestly, I don't know if getting the 10 is worth it. I haven't checked any of the footage or anything. This is literally my first time using it, but I can tell you from the little I have used it, the touchscreen to change settings is so much better. That was my biggest complaint with the Hero 9, is like, in pretty much every aspect, it was a phenomenal camera, but you gotta try to do something with that awful touchscreen, just like, wouldn't do anything. And apparently that might be due to the slower processor. So the fact that they improved the processor this year should mean the camera should run more smoothly. But honestly, the GoPro Hero 9 has been so good, especially in terms of battery life. I can go the whole day at a bike park basically on one battery. I mean, I usually change it out just to be safe, but the fact that one battery lasts so long is kind of mind-blowing. Anyway, this is the last little punchy climb out, and it will bring us back to the campground and the dirt jumps. So hopefully that gave you a fun little tour of our property. We have a few dirt jump lines. We have 2 dirt jump lines, but I I don't really want to show them off because they look really sad right now because of how much rain we ended up getting right after we built them. All right, I took my helmet off. So yeah, that's a tour of our property, and hopefully, I cannot speak right now. All right, so that's a tour of our property. I'm not going to show you the dirt jumps because they are in a really sad state. We built them and literally got torrential downpours after torrential downpours. I was just like, you know what? I'm done with that. And for what it's worth, how many miles did we just do?
2.2.
So we just did 2.2 miles with how many feet of climbing?
Just about 600 feet.
So it's 600 feet of climbing. So obviously this isn't going to be a public bike park, but you know, it's pretty cool for having this in our backyard. So as always, my name is Phil Metz. Thanks for playing bikes with me today. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.